Okay, we're streaming live. Good morning, Crystal. How are you?
Good morning, Jevon. How are you this morning?
Doing well, doing well.
That's
Uh,
good. It's a lovely Monday morning, and it's um, Martin Luther King holiday, birthday, so people are home. Uh, well, let's say people are already home. They're
right,
just not at their computers right now. They
right,
don't have to work.
exactly, exactly. Well, it's good to see you. I want to welcome everyone to another edition of Conversations on the Patio. We have a guest waiting, I think, except I don't see him waiting just now. So hopefully he'll call back in and he's going to talk to us about reverse mortgages. And that's Tony Ronan. So, first of all, let's tell you a little bit about our background. Crystal and I started this show uh, after we met each other on LinkedIn and realized that we had a lot of things in common and that there were a lot of folks out there that are getting information from places that they really shouldn't. Folks have well intentions, but they just don't have really solid information. So we put this together so that we could reduce that problem. How's that sound? Is that good, Crystal? Reduce that problem?
That sounds good. We're just wanting to make sure people get valuable information as they're leading up to retirement, in retirement, post-retirement, pre-retirement. Just making sure that you have all of the information to make sound decisions for your life and your financial well-being.
Awesome. Okay, so with that, let's get started. First, I want to talk a little bit about Crystal, a little bit more. I'm just going to read your bio here, Crystal. It's pretty impressive. Number one, she's a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Systems. Crystal is also the co director of Recycling Black Dollars, co host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. That's another weekly online radio show. She's an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. That QuickBooks thing gets me every time.
I know, huh?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I have, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, this is my busy season. It's a tax season, and so QuickBooks is usually on the. Usually, I don't talk about QuickBooks ever and accounting and financials until it gets to this time of the year, and then everybody's clamoring for my attention. So right now, I have a lot of people clamoring for my attention, and because it's tax season, and it's going to be a unique tax season because a lot of stuff took place in 2020 that has changed. How we accustomed to doing business. So, but I'm happy to be here and
Well,
excited.
good.
Yeah, I am.
Good.
I'm very excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to meeting Tony and talking about reverse mortgages and how it's a tool, or it can be a tool with the right information. So, thank you, Jevon. Did you have a great weekend?
You know, Crystal, I did. It was nice and mellow. I actually went down to Encinitas and checked out the waterfront there. It was very nice, and just sort of walked around. Of course, you know it's closed down for COVID, so we didn't go and have too many inside activities. But it was very nice and mellow and very sunny, which I'm sad to say for the rest of the country and Stabats. But it was a very nice weekend. Yours?
Don't apologize for our weather.
We are paying for it, right?
That's why we live here. We
Indeed.
got beautiful weather.
Yeah.
It was 84, 86 degrees. I played tennis on Saturday, and I had my entrepreneur nifty kids this weekend, or actually is my youth biz institute children, teaching them how to be entrepreneurs. And then yesterday I spent the entire day in my garden. So that's why I have that whole big greenery thing going on behind my patio today, because
Nice.
I'm feeling the garden today.
You garden quite a bit.
I do. That's how I have been surviving COVID,
There
is
you go.
going in my garden, getting my vitamin D, and as well as just communing with my vegetables. I had some beautiful collard greens and mustard greens that we picked yesterday, and um, so just communing. So now
Good
we're getting
deal.
ready for summer. We're getting ready to plant some
Yeah.
watermelon and some milk
Yeah.
some berry trees. We're
Wow.
all excited.
I guess so. I noticed that you haven't invited anybody over to dinner, but I'm not going to go there. These fresh
Well,
vegetables.
we kind of in COVID, but once COVID is over,
There you
they're
go.
all being stacked up in. We actually freeze our products, our
Nice.
vegetables, and
Nice.
so they're waiting until the world opens up and
Okay.
everybody can be free with seeing people. Right now, we kind of all locked down.
I hear you. I hear you. That makes good sense. Well,
Mhm.
Crystal, of course, I am Jevon Thomas. I'm a registered advisor. I'm a registered financial advisor, and I help people with their retirement plans, their company-sponsored retirement plans, like 401ks, 403bs, 457s, that kind of thing. So, I want to tell you a little bit about Tony, and then bring him on. He has been in the business for many years, and I'm not going to steal his thunder, but he's an expert in real estate and specifically with reverse mortgages. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. We're just going to ask him some questions. Some I've got written down here, some we've got from other folks, and then we'll go from that. Does that sound good? Okay.
Sounds excellent to me.
All righty, here he comes. So I guess I've known Tony for a few years now. So I'm interested to see how he really handles this.
Okay.
Well, we'll get him in here in just a moment. I have to figure it out, I guess.
Well, he's
Boom.
Tony, are you there?
connecting his.
Yeah, here we go. Thank you.
You bet. I'm just going to try and see if I can get you on video.
Okay.
Is your video on?
No, he has to put his.
Can you see me?
Not yet.
Nope.
Start my video.
Hey, whoops.
There we go.
It was close.
Wow.
We almost had you.
Guys. Well, I wish I was on one of those beautiful patios you both are on.
Yeah.
Maybe on your next visit, maybe we'll send you a patio background and you
No,
can be on a patio.
now I
as
feel I'm
well.
like out of the picture. So, anyways, happy Martin Luther King Day, guys.
Well, we still can't see you. Is that
Same
something
to
I'm
you.
doing, Crystal? Ask to start video.
Is it not coming through?
No, that would be Tony.
Nope, it's not coming through yet.
No.
Start my video.
Oh, we had the square almost, and then you disappeared.
Cannot start video. Failed to start video camera. Please select another video camera in settings.
Oh, perhaps on your
So
dashboard.
go down to the bottom. Yeah, go to your settings, video settings, and see if you can pull it. Make sure it's pulling in the right camera.
Okay, so let's do this. Maybe it's because I was testing my camera over here. I'm good down in the bottom left. It's telling me this. I've selected it.
Perhaps it's the camera on the keyboard. Sometimes that gets me.
Wow.
Oh, we're getting you so close.
Start video. Okay. Cannot start video. I don't understand. Why is this not happening? So let's open up my Logitech. And I tested everything.
So yeah, try you go into video settings and pull up if that's what you're using, your Logitech.
Yep. I'm in Pro Source, priority, frame rate, zoom rate. I can see myself beautifully on this.
Maybe come out, go out, log out, and then come back in. Leave the meeting, and
that's what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm locking out of everything and coming back in. So bear with me. Here we go.
We'll see you in a minute.
Yep.
Don't you just love technology?
Yes, I do. This is the part of the show where we fill. Well,
no, that's okay. Last Friday when I was doing the business zone,
yes.
Oh, we had an amazing conversation going on, some amazing guests, and all of a sudden, probably about 45 minutes into the interview, my sound just started going crazy. It just, the connection went bad, everything went bad. It was just, so now I got to go back in and edit out the part that didn't work and make the part that did work sizzle. So it's
Yeah,
technology.
it is. It
Yeah, so
works
it
so
is what it
well
is.
until it doesn't. You know, but
It doesn't. I like that.
but I wanted to talk a little bit about Tony. He'll probably be on here, and perhaps we'll have him as that voice from afar, if nothing else. But
Okay, so tell us a little bit about him while we're waiting for him.
yeah, so he's been doing real estate for quite some time, and we started working together because so many people um need money in retirement. And one of
Mm,
their biggest assets, as you know, is their home. But
mhm.
unfortunately, people don't know how to use their home. And as you know, I help people with retirement plans, 401ks, 403bs. And uh, oh, this is Tony on my other line. So hopefully y'all can hear him. Good sir.
It's waiting for you to let me in.
I got you.
There we go.
All righty.
Connecting. Join with computer.
I see here where I can't, it's not letting me to let you in.
Wait, it's not on him. No, he's in.
I can't see
So
him
now
though.
hang up your phone.
That's so weird, you
That's
guys.
because
I don't understand why. I set everything up so we could go on.
well, we won't be able to see you, but we can hear you.
Yes, we'll have to do it that way.
Ah,
Oh, there you are.
no.
There you are.
Hi,
No.
Tony.
I restarted Logitech.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes it has to be that way.
All right. Trust me,
Okay.
I'm smarter than that than using the webcam.
Oh, that's okay. So now Jevon is going to give you your adieu. He was just telling us about you. So go finish up and then he can just jump right on in there.
Okay, I was telling folks, Tony, that we started working together because um, we realized that even though I sell retirement plans, 401ks, 403bs, and I have a small retirement plan business on the side that I share with the group, we realized that often a person's home is their largest retirement asset, largest asset they have going into retirement, and so many people don't know how to use it. And you and I have seen a couple of situations where someone has used their retirement plan to actually, I'm sorry, use their home to actually buttress the amount of money that they have in their retirement plan in order to help them reach their retirement dreams. So we just wanted, if it's okay with you, to talk a little bit about that.
Yep.
And I know we've got a couple of different scenarios. And also, just give us a little bit of the history, because as you know, a few years ago, reverse mortgages were not very favorable, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So maybe you could give us a little bit of a definition, kind of go back, give us a little bit of that history, how they've changed, and then we can launch into how folks can use them now. And of course, Crystal, if you've got a question, jump
Well,
right in.
first, let's have Tony introduce himself to us and so we can get to know him.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Tony Ronan. I have been in this industry my entire life since college. I got an undergraduate degree in finance and real estate, and this is all I've ever done.
Wow,
And that
that's
was
amazing.
37 years ago. I think I just, with this year, that makes it 37. That's scary. I love what I do. And I've been fortunate enough to run large mortgage banks and real estate offices, and I just love helping people. Because at the end of the day, the real estate asset and the mortgage loan are going to be the largest asset and largest expense that anybody's going to ever have. And that really does factor into the retirement equation, right? And how you're going to enjoy a comfortable life in retirement. And so as long as I've been doing this, reverse mortgages have been around for a long time. But some years ago, the federal government took them over. They are now, most of them are administered by HUD, Housing and Urban Development, which is the United States government. And that was because a lot of really terrible things were happening prior in the reverse mortgage industry. There used to be a point in time where once the balance of the loan exceeded the value of the house, they could take the house away from you and kick you out. All of that has been completely eradicated. The reverse mortgage now is entirely geared toward the consumer, as of course the government would do, is to protect you. So radical changes. They could never take the house away from you. However, if you fail to pay your property taxes, you know, the state could take, the county could take that away for not paying property taxes. But from a mortgage standpoint, it is a very powerful tool right now, especially in retirement, especially in this time of, in this state of where we are in the economy and everything else.
So, Tony, that's great. Want to make sure though that this isn't open to everybody. You have to be 62, I believe, before you can actually apply for the reverse mortgage. And then when it comes to using that money, well, can you kind of tell us what a mortgage is? It's actually a loan, is it not, on current property?
So a reverse mortgage is just that. It's a mortgage. There's two types of mortgages you can have. The normal mortgage that we're all used to is where you get a loan and you have to make a payment every month. They now call forward mortgages. In this case, it's getting a mortgage like you normally would, but instead of saying whatever that payment is, paying $2,000 a month, they just add that onto the balance of your loan, so the balance of your loan grows.
Oh, so eventually you're going to have to pay that loan off, are you not?
Eventually, like when you sell the house or at some future point in time.
Okay. So, so that would suggest that you have to own either part or all of the house, or you're gonna have a big bill at the end of your life.
Well, and here's the deal. If you were to pass away,
Right.
whatever the excessive balance is over the value of the house is washed away. It's not, your heirs don't have to take over the excess balance on the mortgage.
Okay. I think that was something that was stopping a lot of people because once you call something a mortgage, now folks are thinking we need to pay that. But what you're suggesting is that once you come to the end of that person's life, and the house can't be taken away from them by the federal government, but once the person who has the house, once they pass away,
Yes.
inside the mortgage or outside the mortgage, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
The fair market value of the house is now what is owed.
Yep.
Correct? Okay, so there is no huge bill that includes the previous mortgage.
Exactly. It's washed away. And here's another unique thing about that. So you touched on a couple of things. One, you want to have a reverse mortgage is only for people 62 years or older who have at least 50% equity or more in their property. The loan amount is based upon your age. You don't get to pick your loan amount. It's automatically assigned based on age. But again, super important. When you pass away, let's say over time, the values of the homes drop and the mortgages go really high and you're upside down by hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever that number is. Sure. Your heirs are guaranteed to be able to purchase that property with 5% equity. So they erase all the debt and give you 5% equity and you can buy the house back. And you already have 5% equity.
Okay, so for those folks that are
fantastic.
worried. Oh, go ahead, Crystal.
I'm sorry. That's pretty, because years and years ago, you know, everybody was so afraid that one, I'm going to lose my home. That was obviously the major fear of it. We've all seen the commercials with Tom Selleck telling you that you're not going to lose your home. But people still haven't really, and some people, I guess, from the previous time when it wasn't as regulated, they did lose their home, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So, so what is happening other than Tom Selleck to make sure that people understand that this could be a definitely valuable tool for those individuals that are 62, or is it 62 or 63 years and older?
62.
62 years and older.
Yep. So interestingly enough, this is one of those topics that's not a 2-minute conversation. We actually have created collateral, 1 to 2 pages with a dozen bullet points that help explain it. And then once I get it explained and the particular client understands it, Then I have to go through the whole process again with all of their relatives, siblings, and financial managers to get them to understand it as well. So really, it's really a function of a sit down, review the collateral, look at the bullet points, and ask me questions. And that's what I'm here to do, honestly, is what do you do for a living? I answer questions.
Okay.
Cool.
I like that.
So,
Nice 30-second Go ahead.
go ahead, Chris.
No,
Oh,
I said
so
nice 30-second commercial.
nice, nice. So, I was trying to interest my father in a reverse mortgage, and his, of course, his financial advisors, also known as the people in his church, however many there are, suggested that it was a bad idea, and for numerous reasons. And I can only think that one reason was if you get that reverse mortgage, now you own something, and so your ability to get your income down to zero so that you can go into a state facility or get state aid would be discounted somehow. So, talk to me a little bit about that.
Say that again, because that did make sense to me.
So there are a lot of people that want to get as much state aid as they can.
Right, state aid, correct.
Yep.
Got
And
it.
so in order to do that, they need to have zero assets. So does the reverse mortgage, is it considered an asset?
So you own a house, that's an asset.
Yep.
Yes.
There's no getting around that.
Right.
So, the question then becomes, the two questions that people have to ask are, do they want to take an income from that asset, which potentially they can with a reverse mortgage? So that you bring up a great point. There's 3 different ways you can apply a reverse mortgage. One, you can just take a mortgage, put your down payment, or take equity, refinance whatever the forward paying mortgage you have is, and never have a payment. Just one mortgage, that's it. There's another mortgage that says that, hey, I have a lot of equity. I'd like to draw an income on a monthly basis.
Okay.
There's another one that says you can have some combination of the first two plus an equity line that you can tap into at any point in time.
Okay.
So what historically has happened is with equity lines, if the market goes down, which we all know that prices are the highest they've ever been on real estate in this country right now, particularly in Southern California, the highest prices we've ever seen ever. So at some point, there's going to be a market correction. They're going to come down and at some point. Equity lines are the first things that get turned off. With a reverse mortgage equity line, they can never turn it off. It'll always be there. You'll always have access to it. So there's 3 different plans on getting a reverse mortgage, and you just have to pick which ones apply. But going back to what you said before, an asset is an asset. A mortgage is a debt. The house, they own a house. I don't know how that applies to getting state aid, but if you own a house, you own a house.
Mm-hmm. I think
the way it applies is,
go ahead,
is
Crystal.
that if you're, first let me ask this question. So if you have your home and can it be in a trust and at the same time be able to be eligible for a reverse mortgage?
The reverse mortgage has to be in the name of the person. They don't give reverse mortgages to trust, but people do then transfer the property back into the trust. But
afterwards.
Yes. Now, the reason that that's an issue is because if the person passes away, the trust can't continue to own the property. Once the borrower passes away, who has the reverse mortgage, the property, the loan needs to be paid off within 12 months. So when people transfer into the name of a trust and the person passes away, there's a tracking issue as to what's really going to happen.
Okay. What were you thinking there, Crystal?
So I guess the answer to your question, Jevon, is no. I think
yes,
what Jevon was trying to ask was, so a lot of people, obviously the family members have to care for their elderly parents at some point. They get if they get a reverse mortgage, now the house is still in the parent's name. So if they need to be able to have assistance from the Department of Aging for home health care, because that's a service that's provided by the Department of Aging, they're not eligible for that because they own the asset of this home.
Yeah.
And in order to maintain the reverse mortgage, that's one of that criteria, is that it's in their name. So I guess that's the question you were asking, Jevon.
Exactly. So, for example, with my grandmother, we had to get all of the property out of her name so that she could have someone come in to take care of her. Right. So we weren't able to get, we didn't have the concept of a reverse mortgage there. I
Right.
think part of the idea was a reverse mortgage if we'd done it the right way. This is before, of course, I knew you, and I think it was actually before the government started taking over. But if the reverse mortgage is going to give you enough assets to where you can have someone come into your home and be able to do the things that you want to do, then it becomes a much better idea. But it seems like if that reverse mortgage is just going to not cover that home health care, as Crystal was saying, is not going to cover that.
Right.
Now you have an asset, and you can't afford the home health care. You're in a bad spot.
Yeah, so it's important to do a financial analysis. So let's talk about the first analysis. The first one is somebody has a mortgage and they're paying out $1,000, $1,500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that the average Social Security is about $1,800, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
You can't afford that housing payment and still survive.
Right.
You can get rid of that housing payment by doing a reverse mortgage.
Okay.
What you do with that money now is totally up to you. Now you've just freed yourself up, $1,000, $1,500 a month for healthcare or whatever else that you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how much equity you have in there, you can also then elect, remember, you can also draw a little bit of a payment on a monthly basis for the rest of your life to supplement the fact that you're now not paying a mortgage.
Right.
So in a lot of the case examples that I've done, I've shown, anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500 swings in the positive to having monthly income now so that they could afford to have part-time healthcare, people who come in on a part-time basis or whatever, and live a comfortable life in the house that they want to live without being forced into, a retirement home, which a lot of people really are reluctant to do, right?
That's such a great point that you made, and I'm so glad you did, because it brings it up to one of the things that one of the articles that Crystal has shared with me, and that is the emotional pull and the emotional battle that people go through when they're in those retirement years. And that's why we have to go back to what I always like, which is have a plan, right? But that emotional toil or toll is huge. And as a person who's looking at their elderly parents saying, okay, what do we do with mom and or dad? They don't want to go into a home. They want to stay in the home that they've built and loved. All right, let's look at that situation. Couple of questions. Is it paid off? Is there some equity there? Are there some healthcare issues? If all those are answered in the right way, this could be a great way to establish an income stream to where we can take care of that home healthcare and mom and dad get to stay in their own home, which
Right.
is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yep.
Does that make sense to you, Crystal?
Yeah, it does. So what are some other ways can you so we're going to reallocate, let's say that your mortgage, which, let's say if it was the $1,800, let's say your mortgage was $1,800.
Yep.
Now you can utilize that money for other things. I guess that could then take care of your home health care,
Right.
if you're not paying for that mortgage. But again, you have to have some other supplemental income.
Right.
Right.
In order, you got your retirement, maybe you have some investments.
Yep.
Right. Maybe you have a
Let me-
401k.
Yeah, let me add a couple of things that I think that are interesting on our horizon right now. One, values are the highest they've ever been, which means you're going to get the highest appraisal value you can get, which means you're going to qualify for the most amount of mortgage, whether it's a forward or reverse. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing right now that is a looming elephant in the room. Do you guys see the elephant in the room?
Yeah, we see it.
is where is Social Security and Medicare going to be in 10 years?
Right.
I mean, you already are getting paid just enough. I mean, living poverty level. Social Security, face it, for somebody 75 years old is poverty.
It is. It is.
And now they're saying that numerically it's going to be gone in 8 to 10 years. So, I'm not trying to scare people, but if you lose that income, the only potential you have to tap into is your asset.
And
Right.
this makes a great point. As a person in the retirement plan business, we generally say that your your nest egg, that is everything that you're going to use to retire upon, your 401k, your assets, Social Security, everything that you're going to use, put it all in one pot, and that should generate on an annual basis 110% of your pre-retirement income. So what we're saying is if you are living on, let's say you're making $80,000 a year and you're living on $60,000 a year,
Hmm.
including your house payment. Okay.
Yep.
We want you to take your all of the assets that you have, figuratively put them in a pot, and see how much they generate. And that generation should be 110% greater than your take home pay. So if you if you do that and you find out that you're up with a shortfall, and then you realize that if you do the reverse mortgage, you may even be able to surpass that 110%.
Right.
This makes that a very good idea. And if your heirs want to have that property, they can just buy it. They get the 5% equity. They can buy that and go about their business. So I think that's a very good point to make. And we've seen situations where people were going to lose their jobs, the money wasn't going to be there. They do the reverse mortgage, and we've got some scenarios that we can talk about, but they do the reverse mortgage. Now they have a chance to make some decisions about where they want to live and how they want to do things. So it can be a very powerful tool, but I think keeping that thought of 110% in your head of your take home pay is really good. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not a big supporter. And I'll just say it right now, just me personally, it doesn't mean it's the truth for everyone.
Hmm.
But for me personally, I'm not a big supporter of renting while you're while you're living your life. Just because of that.
Well,
That doesn't mean that it's the truth for everyone, but just because
you
of that.
touched on two super phenomenal points. Let's talk about those. First off, people unfortunately or fortunately, who knows what, I mean, it's a positive thing, I think, but are having to work longer, right? The standard
Yeah.
retirement age has gone up to what I thought it was. I hear it now it's like 68.
Yeah.
I'm at the YMCA and the greeter there, a guy named Skip Evans, awesome guy. He's 67 years old and he has to work, right?
Mhm.
So if you have a mortgage, a forward paying mortgage, and you lose your job now, they can take that asset away from you.
Right.
If you had a reverse mortgage, they could never take that away from you.
Okay.
So that's
That's a good starting
interesting.
point.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Second great point you touched on, and I don't know if you meant to do this, but let's talk about the number one objection of a reverse mortgage, and that's the heirs. Oh, but you're taking away my future nest egg in this house, right?
Mhm.
I like to see people do a quiz on a couple things. One, okay, you get that house, but how much is it going to cost you to take care of your parents on a monthly basis when they get to that point?
Right.
Mentally, physically, financially,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is on some of these, they save enough on a monthly basis, or they get enough of a monthly cash windfall that they go get an extra insurance policy for their kids.
Mhm.
Help compensate for the difference.
Right, right.
Once I explain these and the family scenario situations, they have their financial advisor like you guys, a couple of family members are like, oh, I heard reverse mortgages are evil. And once I walk them through all of this, if it really does make a fit, 9 times out of 10, if it makes sense, they do go forward.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's great. And I think that and hopefully we have enough time, and I think we do, to get into a couple of other scenarios where the reverse mortgage can work, like we were talking about before. Um, but that's really, really big, because especially, in the community that I exist in, Crystal and I, in that Black American community, the
Right.
transfer of wealth is big. And if it doesn't happen, it's a major concern, right? So we have to take a look at that, and that's across the board anywhere. That transfer of wealth when someone passes away, things passing down, right? That's a big concern. But I think you're bringing up an excellent point. If you can't get there, in the way that you think you can,
Right.
you're really in a hurt. So that's why it's really a good idea to talk to a planner, get that team, and say,
Yep.
okay, how is this actually going to work? And then throw in, if you've got that legacy issue, throw that in. How is that going to work? And explain that to the whole family. And I can
Yep.
see, Crystal, you seem to be jumping at the bit there. So I want to let you
Well,
jump right in.
well, something Tony had said earlier, here in California, we the cost of real estate is just astronomical, right? And I live in a community that the property values are up over $1 million or so, and it's considered the Black community, a Black middle class community in Los Angeles. And so a lot of times the parents have owned these homes for the last 40, 50 years. They bought in back in the 50s, the 40s. They had what they called white flight here, and everybody left. And so they were able to pick up these homes. And so now it's gone up to this high level. But there is a major concern in our community. How do we protect and keep my children and continue generations of individuals living in the same area and because you can't buy in this area anymore. I mean, million seven, 1,000,003, I think is the normal the average medium house here in the area that I live in.
Wow.
So what are some of the strategies that, let's say if I'm in my 40s, 45, 50, that I can use my real estate in order to help me to be able to preserve my legacy for my heirs, but at the same time, make sure in my retirement years that I can keep my home or I can expand on it, or what are some of those strategies?
That's a great question to ask. So again, remember the reverse mortgage is for the people who, once they're 62 years or older. But in the meantime, a lot of what I'm doing right now is I'm analyzing. People are saying, "Hey, I have this is I have this house and this is what my mortgage is at and this is what my interest rate is at. Is this the best position for me to be in?" So right now, guys, this is crazy. I'm locking interest rates at 2.25% and 2.5%. The average interest rate right now, according to Fannie Mae, the average interest rate is still 4.25, which means there's millions of people who haven't refinanced yet. How crazy. You could actually, if you're used to making a payment at 4.25, I can get you a 10-year mortgage at 2% and you'll pay it off faster. Thus, by the time you're 62, you'll have that home free and clear and be able to look at a reverse mortgage at that time. Other things that I'm having people do, because the interest rates are so low, is if they have a lot of equity and there is a legacy that they want to help, if all the factors make sense, take out $100,000. I'm actually helping people pull money out to buy investment properties for their kids. Their kids are going to rent it, prove that they can sustain it, and then ultimately they'll be granted. And because the interest rate on a non-owner occupied, which is historically in the high 4s or 5s, is now like 2.875 or 3%, the numbers still make sense. So that's bring your payment down as low as possible, and if you can, tap into a little equity to create an investment that could be for your kids.
I like that strategy. That's a good win-win for everyone.
Yep.
And at the same time, your heirs, because so here's the other question. So after the individual that has the home, the mortgage, reverse mortgage, the house now is the person has passed on.
Yep.
So now what's the process? That person, the heir, has to qualify for that loan, right?
So they don't have to they go get a new loan, or they can even get an investor. It doesn't even matter. So let's just say we have a house that's now worth $500,000 and a loan that's $1 million. So the loan has gone up to $1 million. The house has gone down to $500,000, but the kids or the grandkids really want to keep this house. They can buy that loan, pay that out at 95% of that $500,000. So for $475,000 loan, they can get that house that had $1 million loan on it.
Wow.
So they can either get a cash investor or they just qualify with me for a $475,000 loan to buy it.
Was that a plug? I don't. That was that a plug. Was that a plug? That could have been a plug. That could have been a shameless plug.
I like
Well,
the
they're
way he
certainly not
talks,
qualifying with me. That's for sure. So let me. So what you're saying is that
That was my
since
commercial.
since the once the person dies, since the mortgage, essentially the reverse mortgage. I'm sorry. Since the reverse mortgage goes away.
In 12 months, it has to be paid off within 12 months.
Oh, so that extra mill, or so that extra, let's say the house is worth 500K,
Yep.
right? And the loan value on that is still another 500K.
Okay.
Okay, so in order to purchase that house, I've as a loan as an heir, I've got to pay off that first 500K.
No, you don't have to pay anything off. All you're doing is whatever the current market value is. The current market value is now 500,000. You get to buy it with for 500,000, but you automatically get 25,000 of equity. So you only need a loan for 475.
Beautiful. And I can just go out and get one from wherever, preferably you, but I can just go out
Yes, correct.
and get one.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That's good, because there are a lot of that's a major fear for a lot of people all
That's
over
part
the
of the
country.
legacy issue.
Yeah, it's
That
big.
is the legacy
It's really
issue.
big.
And Jevon, I like the way, because if we started early, knowing that I'm in my 50s, but knowing by the time I'm 62, the reverse mortgage is going to be one of my strategies, right?
Bingo.
In
Bingo.
order to do that. But at the same time, I've identified whichever heir
Yes.
that and get them prepared so that when that time happens,
Exactly.
right now you're ready within that
Yes.
12 months after I've
Exactly.
passed on,
Exactly.
that now you ready to keep the house. So
Right.
you've gotten all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed, and now you can go apply for the loan to purchase that house.
Yep.
Or identify an investor somewhere in our family legacy structure, right?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Right. And now
Beautiful.
the home is no longer at stake.
Right. Exactly.
I
Beautiful.
like that strategy,
Yeah,
Tony.
that's
Yep.
great. And I love the way you said that. Do it exactly like that.
Yep.
Plan for the reverse mortgage, get the heir lined up, do the plan, just run it right through. That's one or two simple family meetings, and off you go, and we keep that legacy.
Yep.
Well said. Well said, Crystal.
Yeah, I just think that people don't, obviously that's why we're doing this show, is because people don't understand what their options are, right? Even with real estate, this, Tony, you've been in it for, real estate for a long time. People just think this is a home I'm buying. They don't really, do they really see it as an investment?
No.
Okay.
Some people are a little bit more sophisticated, but I would like people to. I think the immediate gratification culture, unfortunately, has taken people off the long-term prospects of life.
I agree.
Right.
I'm starting to see a shift back towards healthy thinking, physical activity, better eating habits. I'm seeing this whole COVID thing is bringing back, I think, a greater sense of self-awareness. And hey, if something goes wrong, we got to be in a better position next time. And I'm hoping that this is getting people thinking about, the future. Because, you made a comment about the neighborhood that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the neighborhoods. Everything's overpriced. Nobody can afford. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers right now, and I'm trying to convince them and get them to understand, you can't do this alone. You might need to borrow a down payment from a parent or a co-sign for a couple of years. It's the prices have gone much higher than what the income levels, right?
Yeah. Yes.
When the prices go this high and income drops, you've got this gigantic chasm that's impossible to cross without assistance.
Right.
So I need people to understand that. Don't feel that you're any less a person because you need help in order to survive here in Southern California.
Good point.
And I think that's an excellent point. And Jevon is always talking about planning, and this is, being able to disseminate information to people to understand that, because you're absolutely right. When we look at the millennial group, age group, the Gen Z age group, buying a home, if they're going to stay in the state of California, is like utopia at this point, right? Because the down payment is outrageous. Even if they're making, six figures a year, but rents are ridiculously priced. I mean, just to rent an apartment is crazy. So you can't even accumulate the down payment, even if you are making, say, $150,000 a year.
You're speaking truth.
Mm.
So my son, I'm gonna use my son as an example in this case because he's turning 22, but he's getting a life insurance policy, one that he can utilize later on in life as an asset. He's actually moving to Colorado and to Boulder, found an incredible property, a really nice condo for 200,000. That condo easily here would be 500,000. And so he came to us saying, "Hey, Dad, would you consider helping me on the down payment?" And our answer is, of course, yes. Show us your budget, show us your plan, and based on that, we'll be willing to, help you guys on that down payment. But he's moving out of state, and that's kind of to your point, because he said, "Dad, I can't afford to live here, and I don't want to live off you." So
there you go.
Yeah, and then that makes that difficult because when he gets married and has children, your grandkids won't grow up with knowing you person to person. They'll know you from the fact that they can talk to you FaceTime, but you won't have the benefit of going out and playing unless you get on a plane and fly to your children. So it's very difficult, I think, the way we are living right now, because that extended family is important. And then as you and your wife age out and age, then there's going to be a big decision that have to be made. He's going to have to come, or one of your children will have to come back and take care of you. And so if we can pre-plan, and I think that's even part of our conversation, Jevon, on retirement, how do we set ourselves up back at our age of 40 or 50 to know what this inevitable stuff that's going to take place in 30, 40 years from now, or 25 years from now?
It is great. I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead. I'll reserve.
Well, that kind of, there's an interplay here that's occurring that is like, in other cultures, the importance of having a lot of kids and a lot of family was to help take care of the parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now our children in Southern California are scattered all over the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you start or contend with the idea of saying, listen, I know you're my kids and you're, between 20, 30, 40 years old, but I'm hoping that you will be a part of our lives when we get older, because we don't want to be in the hands of somebody we've never met before who's paid minimum wage.
Yes.
How do we prep them up mentally? And the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm thinking the legacy concept of helping them achieve property ownership while you can, now, while you're alive, while you have equity, is a great incentivizer to actually make that come to fruition.
I think you're both speaking the truth. Coming from the retirement plans perspective, and I don't think this is going to be very pleasant, but as a person who's an advisor in retirement plans, we always talk about balance, right? We always talk about balance gives you choice. And so when we think about the payments that we're making on behalf of our children and the things that we're doing, the trips that we're taking, the gifts that we're given, the amount of family involvement, we have to kind of look at what's the long-term approach here, right? I mean, should we buy the brand new car when they graduate from high school? Should we make sure that they go to a 4-year college like we did? Should we ask those kids to start working when they're 14 or 16 or something like that, right? What are the things that we want to do to create balance in a situation so that our plan comes true, right? And what plan should we tell our kids? This is how the family works. This is what we do to maintain this family instead of getting surprised, So many of us are making these decisions, and arguably, when you think about it, a reverse mortgage has changed over time, right? When back in the time when my grandmother was needed home health care, that was some years ago. We didn't have the program that we have now, so we have to we have to update. We've got to make things that are right, but we also have to look at, okay, what plan are we going to have? And that plan doesn't start when you're 40. That plan starts when you're looking at marrying that lady, you're looking at marrying that man. What do you think about money? How are you going to handle money? What kinds of things are you going to put in place so that we don't have to get surprised and we've got options going into situations?
You just given me a complete paradigm shift, Jevon, both of you. I always in the financial industry, I always looked at as a retirement plan as something about an individual. A retirement plan is a family plan.
It
It is
is.
executed early enough properly.
Most definitely. Most
I
definitely.
And I
never looked
think
at that. I never thought of that ever. Wow.
right. And I think, and Tony, Jevon and I talk about having a team, right? I talk, my space, I work with a lot of small businesses. And so again, the small business is a family business, so it affects
Yep.
everyone, right? And so one of the things Jevon has been, and I have been talking about is that team, right? So the team is your financial advisor, your accountant, your attorney, now your real estate agent should be part of that team as well. And I think, Jevon, you made an excellent point. So I remember this a little while back when my mom, when I needed my first car, she didn't go out and buy. First of all, I had to work at the age of 16. And
We all did,
so
right?
There you go.
that's the first thing.
Yeah.
I had to
Still
go.
living, didn't kill me.
And then she taught me how to save my money. I put my money aside, and then I bought my own first car, which of course now I'm gonna value it a little bit differently because it's mine's, right? I paid for it.
Yep.
I think, but not to say that parents can't have the luxury of giving their child, something when they graduate, for all the hard work, graduating for high school, graduating for college. But I think Tony has a good point. Being able to put that money, instead of buying you a car, let's start a savings account for your first down payment of your real estate, wherever that is. But if we start early, and I'll put the money there, you go work, you buy your car, you pay for your insurance, and make sure you can take care of that part. And then we will help you with your first down payment for your first piece of real estate. And preferably, and I don't know how you feel about this, Tone, preferably an income piece of property
Oh gosh, yeah.
before you buy your own home.
Yeah, no, and yeah, you're absolutely right. And my daughter, she's turning 19. She's a junior in college. She's already saying, okay, so dad, and she's been working since babysitting since she was 12. Guys, she has over $25,000 saved.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
And when she graduates, she goes, Dad, I'm going to live in San Diego, and I don't know if I'm going to stay there or not. But she goes, I want you to use your real estate commission for my down payment, and I'll buy and I'll pay it and I'll live it. And then if I choose to move, I'll just rent it out, and that'll be my first house.
Wow, she sounds like a smart young lady. Yeah.
Thanks out to her mom.
Yeah.
but
I'd
that's
check out that oatmeal.
that's the conversation that I think, and it's hard conversations for parents to talk about, I think in this day and age about money. I would say most millennials and Gen Zs and X's have no clue what the parents do for a living. They have no clue how much money the parents spend out in expenses and maintaining their lifestyles.
That's
And
a sad truth.
right, and they have no idea what's going to happen when mom and dad start to retire, or God forbid, mom and dad get sick, right?
Yeah.
And these are, I think, the hard conversations we have to start having, because it's, as you said, it's a family retirement, not just their retirement.
Yeah, and I'm going to one up you on this one real quick. With all my clients, I sit down, I created an Excel spreadsheet of a budget. And this budget shows you your income at the top, all your monthly expenses, and then those things that everyone forgets about: the annual auto insurance, the semi-annual healthcare insurance, the 2 family trips, the birthdays, etc. And every single time not 99.9, but 100% of the time when I go through a budget, I make people fill this in, they look at each other and they go, I didn't know we spent so much. That's where we're at. I don't, because we don't talk about the money.
Right. We don't really like to, and I'm realizing right now the amount of expense it costs just to get married. I mean, it's massive out there.
Yeah, if you
Some
go
people are
that
paying.
massive way, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you could imagine, I'm not going to give you the 70, $80,000 for your wedding, but I will put
Where you coming
25,
from?
$30,000.
Anyway,
It's a
but
good
I love
wedding, huh?
the
But
concept
we can
now
do
is,
something different, and we can talk
yeah,
about it. And they're
the,
not hard if you talk about
yeah, the wedding gift now is down payment money,
it.
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Forget the expense of rings, down payment money. And that's
Down
what
payment
should be
money.
looking for.
I
Makes
teach
sense.
kids how to be entrepreneurs, and there's a program that I do every summer. When we pre-COVID, it was actually a live 10-day camp, and we would take the kids to Junior Achievement, and Junior Achievement had this financial literacy, real life type of day with the kids, and so the kids would get this iPad, and then they would have to go, okay, this is this is they would be given their scenario. You graduated, you didn't go to college, this is your job, this is how much money you have, this is what you have in savings. Now we need to go over and talk to the insurance man and buy our insurance. We need to go over and talk to the utilities and make set up our utilities. So it's teaching children life skills, right? So after it's over and they're there for about 5 hours, the kids come back, they have to cash out, they have to do all of the part, and inevitably the kids go, these are the response I always get back when I do an overview and a summary. Oh my God, I'm going home and hug my mom and dad because they have a hard life.
Right?
The second one is, I am not ever having children, they cost too much.
Yeah.
I'm really got to think about a 4-year college unless I'm gonna be a professional. So these are the, and that's because these kids are being exposed to. They'll go, I had $25 to last me the whole entire month. How do you live on $25? So now they fully understood what we as adults and parents and all that sort of stuff are going through. And it's an eye opener. I mean, I had kids going, oh no, I'm going to college because I can't make enough money without college education. I need to be very strategic. These are their words. I need to be very strategic about my life. and these kids are our kids are 13. Yeah, they come in at 12 years old to 18 years old.
Right.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Great
Yeah.
conversations, though. And, I think this has been an awesome conversation as well. And I know, Tony, you've got a lot more to talk with us about, but we are at about an hour here. So
Wow.
if it's
That was great.
okay, yeah. Well, it's amazing what happens when I get to talking, right? So, so if it's okay with you, we'd like
Or
to
just
invite
good
you.
conversation.
There you go.
I love this. I love trying to, pick my brain and get information. Like I said, I learned something today from you guys. It's not retirement planning individually, it's retirement planning family-wise. And there's just so many other components that I'd love to be part of. So thank you for the opportunity.
Definitely appreciate that. So,
We'd love to have you come back.
yeah, that
Let's
would be
explain
awesome
the
if you would be
patio
okay.
before we leave.
Oh, yes. One
So
of
Tony, next time you get to come,
you got to
I'll
get a
make sure I
patio.
got a
Tony,
patio.
next time you get to come, I'm gonna send you. We're gonna get you a patio because this is the kind of conversation we would have on a patio, right?
Yep,
You'd have
yep.
friends over, let's have some conversation, and it's much more relaxing on a patio. So, Jevon, you can tell them why we do the patio,
Well,
our
we
backgrounds.
sure we do the background because, like Crystal suggested, it's very calming, and people have those conversations this way. But ultimately, we want folks to vote on which patio they like the best. And Crystal went out and found a bunch of them. I suppose it's on me to find some more. So, what you can do is in the comments, you can say which one that you like the most. I've got this one that's a little bit more, I'm going to say Tuscan, and Crystal's got the one that's a little bit more lively, I'm gonna say. So if you just want to put in the comments which patio you like the best, it's just a fun thing we like to do, and then we can give you the answers or give you the report. So I want to read Crystal's bio, and then Tony, if you could share a little bit about yourself again, and then we'll go ahead and close out. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay, so my partner and friend Crystal, a business coach consultant. She's a CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, a co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, co-host of the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, a weekly online show, instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for a teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and
Wow.
last but not least, the QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. I said it. That's so cool. Tony, please tell us who you are and where our folks can reach you and get more advice. And thank you for agreeing to come back in a little bit on our show.
Sure. Again, my name's Tony Ronan. I have a really easy phone number if anyone has questions they want to ask me. It's 949 area code 444-4900. That's 444-4900. Rings right to me. I have been a real estate broker for 35 years and a mortgage broker for 35 years. I am currently located physically in Irvine, but I do everything from San Diego, Malibu, all the way out to the Arizona. I'm licensed in Arizona. So I love going anywhere I can meet and help people.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And as everybody knows, I'm Jevon Thomas. I'm a retirement plan advisor, and I have wonderful friends and teams like these folks. You can always reach them through me, and my number's on Facebook and LinkedIn. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and I can't wait till you come back.
And you guys can find me on Facebook, Crystal Mitchell and Mitchell Business Solutions and Recycling Black Dollars and the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. And I actually have another podcast called the Community Business Briefing. And it's a weekly podcast that talks about what's going currently with COVID relief from the federal government, PPP, which is going on right now, and any grants and anything available. And we also have a lot of bankers and so forth come on that are talking about programs and loans and for our small business market.
That's awesome. When do you sleep?
Right?
After gardening.
You are busy.
She is. Well, thank you again, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Right.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Stop the share and